So this happened to me about 3 months ago, and I still get this sick feeling in my stomach when I think about it, because I honestly have no idea what this guy was planning, or what would have happened if I hadn't noticed what I noticed. And the worst part is I'll probably never know who he was or why he chose me. I'm 26 and I live alone in a small apartment complex in Michigan. It's not a huge building, maybe 12 units total, 2 floors. Most of my neighbors are older or keep to themselves, so it's usually pretty quiet. I work from home doing data entry stuff, which means I'm inside a lot and I don't really have a set schedule for leaving the apartment. Some days I go out, some days I don't. It was a Tuesday afternoon around 3 p.m., and I decided to walk to the grocery store about 4 blocks away because I needed milk and some other random stuff. It was one of those gray, cloudy days where it felt like it might rain but never actually did. I remember I was wearing my black hoodie and leggings and I had my headphones in listening to a podcast. The walk there was totally normal. I didn't notice anything weird. I got to the store, grabbed what I needed, and checked out. The whole trip took maybe 20 minutes. On the way back, I was crossing the intersection near my building when I noticed a guy standing on the corner across from me. He was maybe in his early 30s, average height, wearing a gray jacket and jeans. He had short brown hair and he was holding a phone, but he wasn't looking at it. He was looking at me. I didn't think much of it at first because sometimes people just look around, you know? But when I crossed the street and started walking toward my building, I glanced back and he was walking in the same direction behind me, maybe 30 feet back. I still didn't panic because we could have just been going the same way. But then I turned into my building's parking lot and I heard his footsteps behind me turn too. That's when I felt this little ping of unease. I walked up to my building's main door and I used my key to unlock it. Before I went inside, I looked back one more time and the guy had stopped at the edge of the parking lot. He was just standing there looking at his phone now, but I could tell he was watching me from the corner of his eye. I went inside and locked the door behind me, and I remember my heart was beating a little faster than normal, but I told myself I was being paranoid. I went up to my apartment on the 2nd floor, put my groceries away, and kind of forgot about it. About an hour later, around 4:30, I went to close my living room curtains because the sun was getting low and the light was annoying me. My window faces the parking lot and the street. When I looked out, I saw him, the same guy. He was sitting in a car parked on the street directly across from my building, and he was looking up at my window. I froze. I just stood there staring at him and he was staring back. Then he looked down at his phone like nothing happened. I immediately closed the curtains and my hands were shaking. I thought maybe he lived in the area and it was just a coincidence, but I'd never seen him before and I'd lived there for over a year. I didn't know what to do, so I just tried to keep myself busy. I made dinner and watched TV, but I kept peeking through the curtains every 20 minutes or so. At 6 p.m., his car was still there. At 7:30, still there. By 9 p.m., I was genuinely freaked out. I texted my friend Rachel and told her what was happening. She told me to call the police, but I felt stupid because technically he wasn't doing anything illegal. He was just sitting in a parked car on a public street. Around 10 p.m., I checked again and the car was gone. I felt this huge wave of relief, like maybe I had been overreacting and he just happened to be waiting for someone in the area. I went to bed around 11:30 and I remember feeling exhausted from all the anxiety. The next morning, Wednesday, I woke up around 8:02 a.m. and opened my curtains to let some light in. His car was back, same spot, same guy sitting in the driver's seat. My stomach dropped. I immediately grabbed my phone and took a picture of the car and the license plate. Then I called the non-emergency police line and explained that there was a man parked outside my building who had been there since yesterday afternoon and I thought he might be watching me. They said they'd send an officer to check it out. About 30 minutes later, a police car pulled up. I watched from my window as the officer walked over to the guy's car and knocked on the window. They talked for maybe 5 minutes. The guy pointed at something on his phone and the cop nodded. Then the cop walked back to his car and drove off. The guy sat there for another minute, then he started his car and left. I called the police back and asked what happened. The officer told me the guy said he was a contractor working on a house nearby, and he was just sitting in his car filling out paperwork and making phone calls. The officer said he didn't see anything suspicious and there wasn't much they could do unless he was trespassing or threatening me. I felt so frustrated because I knew something was off, but I couldn't prove it. I spent the rest of the day working and trying not to think about it. I didn't leave my apartment at all. Around 5 p.m., I checked the window and his car wasn't there. At 7 p.m., still not there. I started to relax a little, but then at 9:30 p.m. I heard something outside my door. It was this weird scraping sound like someone dragging something across the floor. I got up and looked through the peephole. No one was there. But when I opened the door, there was a small piece of paper on the ground right in front of my door. I picked it up and my hands started shaking again. It was a receipt from the grocery store I went to the day before. My grocery store receipt. The one I had thrown away in the trash can outside the store. And on the back someone had written in blue pen, "You dropped this." I slammed the door and locked it, and I immediately called 911. I told them someone had been following me and left something at my door and I didn't feel safe. They sent 2 officers this time. They searched the building and the parking lot, but no one was around. They took the receipt as evidence and filed a report. One of the officers told me to keep my doors locked and call immediately if I saw the guy again. They also said they'd increase patrols in the area. That night I didn't sleep at all. I just sat on my couch with all the lights on and a knife from my kitchen on the table next to me. The next day, Thursday, I stayed inside again. I checked the parking lot every hour. His car never came back. Friday, same thing. By Saturday, I started to feel like maybe he'd been scared off by the police. But I was still on edge. I started keeping my curtains closed all the time. I stopped going on walks. I only left to get groceries, and I started driving instead of walking even though the store was so close. A week later, I was taking my trash out to the dumpster behind the building. It was around 6 p.m. and still light outside. As I was walking back to my building, I saw him. He was standing across the street, half hidden behind a tree, watching me. We made eye contact for maybe 3 seconds. Then he turned and walked away calmly, like he had all the time in the world. I ran back inside and called the police again, but by the time they got there, he was long gone. I gave them the description again and they said they'd look into it, but I never heard anything back. After that, I didn't see him again. It's been 3 months now and he hasn't come back, but I'm still terrified. I don't know why he was watching me. I don't know how he got my receipt from the trash. I don't know if he knows where I work or what car I drive or anything else about me. And the scariest part is I don't know if he's actually gone or if he's just watching from somewhere I can't see. I moved out of that apartment last month. I'm in a new place now with better locks and a security camera. But every time I go outside, I look over my shoulder. Every time I see a gray jacket or a parked car that's been sitting too long, my heart starts racing. I still don't know who he was or what he wanted, and I don't think I ever will.